everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name is Meghan Rogers. I'm a writer, author, and creator, and today I am going to tell you some really exciting details about what I am currently working on. Now, if you've been on this channel before, you may have heard me say this, but just in case you haven't, I love talking about what I'm working on. I'm going to rein things in on the channel from spoilers because I don't want to spoil things before they come out, but I just feel like I am the most excited about a project when I am working on it, and that is when I am most enthusiastic about sharing it. And I want to share that with you. Like, as I go through the process of writing and working on a book, I want to share that with you. But of course, that comes with a caveat that there may be some things that you never get to read because I just never want to publish them. Like, I get them out of my system. They are not working for whatever reason. So yeah, there may be things that you don't get to read. I really, really deeply hope you get to read this one though, because this book is, so far, it's my favorite thing that I've ever written. It's also the most me in a lot of ways, which I'll share more about that when we get into things more deeply. But I am so in love with this book. It's probably also it's both one of the easiest things I've ever written and some of the slowest, which has been an interesting experience because I usually kind of pump words out pretty easily. And it's not that this has been hard, it's just been a more gentle process. And it's made it, I think, for a more enjoyable experience. So first, I'm going to share with you the pitch for this book. So just the basic, it's still very rough, so of course this can change, but this is how I am seeing this book so far. And I'm just going to go ahead and read this to you directly from my computer screen. Ava Delirio once made headlines across Legacy City for her involvement in a national privacy scandal. She was the company's scapegoat, but no one was interested in her side of the story at the time. Despite everything, she went on to build a beautiful life for herself. Now, 4 years later, bombs are going off across the city, and the ruling gods believe her former company is involved. When Ava receives an official summons to work with Valerian, one of the city's ruling gods, she's more than a little irritated. In part because this pulls her back to a time of her life that she'd rather forget, but also because Ava has secrets someone like Valerian could easily take advantage of. Now Ava has to find a way to help the gods stop the bombings while keeping herself safe in the process. So that's the pitch for the book. I hope it sounds exciting to you. I have loved writing it so much, and I will tell you the inspiration behind it. This is the book. This is my It Came to Me in a Dream book, and I've never had this happen to me before, so it was so cool when this came in. At this point, I had the idea for this back in November of 2020. And I just had this dream, and I'm not going to tell you exactly the scene that I saw because it's a scene that I think it's not in the first book. I think it's a scene we're not going to get until the series is almost over because I do see this as a series. But I was on vacation with my family when I was in high school. Me and my whole extended family got together and my family and the whole extended family went in on a house in North Carolina, and it had this theater room, and I am in the theater room and I am watching something on the screen, and I'm kind of aware of my cousins and people around me, but I am transfixed on what is happening on the screen. And the next thing I know, I'm in the movie. I'm actually in the movie, and I am not myself anymore. I am now a character in the story, and there's something I need to do. And there's a scene that's in front of me, there's action I need to take to responding to what I'm watching. And I woke up and I just wrote down the details of it. I'm I know there's something here. I've never had that happen to me before. And then from that point, how I like to write is I kind of let a story cook for a little bit. So I have the inspiration. I don't really do too much with it initially. I just kind of let it cook in my brain. I usually get more details that come through, and I'll just email myself. I have an email thread that has just some rough one-off notes. Sometimes things will change. This story came to me so easily. By the time I sit down to really start actively brainstorming, I think I usually have maybe 20 or 30 emails to myself. I had 185 in a few months. It wasn't even this was a long time. I had been working on this story for a long time, but it wasn't that long in between me getting the idea and actually starting to develop it. I actually have the emails here in sections. I mean, you can't read them, it's way too small, but like these are scenes ideas that I had. Like all of these. And then what is this? These are notes. So just different notes that I had. Like this is how thick. Because I cut each one up individually so I could refer to it. And then this is the scenes. And then I do have one more small one that I'm not even sure. Oh, these are the scenes that I decided to trash. So yeah, out of all of the notes I sent myself, these are the small ones that I decided are not relevant. And I kept all of the rest. So I had just all of these ideas just coming to me. I was seeing these characters. I was seeing their story. And just, it was really coming together really well. The one thing I did not see though was like a concrete plot. Like I kind of knew like what the character growth arcs were, but I didn't, and I knew a rough plot. Like obviously if you heard that pitch, there is a rough plot in there, but I did not have the deep details of what it was. And in some ways I still don't. Like the first draft I wrote, I told my critique partners, like, I don't know the plot, but I feel like I just want to write what I have. Like I just want to write these character arcs and these development arcs, and I'll figure out the plot later. Like maybe stuff will come up as I write and I can work with that, but I just want to write. And of course they were amazing. Like, yes, we will read whatever you write. So they got drafts that had like gaping plot holes and like notes to come back to things later. But it was also just a really cool experience just to kind of focus on what I had and what was talking to me at the time and just letting that go. So at this point in time, the first draft is done. And I am really excited about the themes. I do want to talk about the themes for a little bit. So at the time, and I'm still into this, but I was like newly into it when I first started working on this book, I was really getting into Brene Brown's work, which I will link her below. She is a psychological researcher, and she kind of focuses on vulnerability, courage, and shame, but that was really where she started. At this point, I feel like her work really encompasses what it means to be human. And just coming into that, understanding humanity in a new way was just really exciting to me. And there's a lot about this book that explores what it means to be human. I also was really getting into masculine and feminine energies at the time, which that is a much larger topic than I can fit in this video. Perhaps it will get its own topic later, because I do think it's a big theme of the book. But ultimately, I am of the belief that we all have both masculine and feminine energies. You don't have to call them that if you don't want to. They can be yin and yang energies. Whatever you want to call them is totally fine. But the idea is that we have these energies in us, and they tend to express themselves in a certain way. And one thing, as I was kind of like getting into this concept that was really jarring to me, was that I was noticing how often a woman in her power was depicted as being more masculine. Like it's the kicking and the fighting and the punching. And I'm not knocking that character. I've written that character. I love that character. I will likely write that character again. But also, it's not very me. Like, if I make it the rest of my life without ever throwing a punch, like I would be fine with that. I don't need that to be a sense of power and a source of power. To me, that kind of aggression is inherently more masculine. But again, we all have both energies, so that's fine. But I really wanted to see a woman in her power who was not in a more masculine energy. So that's part of what comes through a lot in this book. And it's been really fun to explore because the other piece of that, and this is where we get into a little bit the more personal stuff, is right around the time I was getting into this book, I was learning more about myself. I was learning that I'm a highly sensitive person, which I will link the research about that below. And I honestly, it would not shock me to learn a lot of readers are highly sensitive people. I think it's part of why reading is so entertaining to us, because we are sensitive to what's happening on the page, that we are getting enough stimulation. Like, we don't need to go jump off of buildings. It's enough for us to read about a character jumping off of a building. Like, we're good. So it wouldn't surprise me again if a lot of readers actually do identify in this way, but I do. And I was learning about this and this character trait and what it means for me and how it shaped my experience. And I wanted to give my main character a little bit of that. I will share more in the future about how I'm going about that. But in a lot of ways, this book, this character has the most me I have ever put in writing. With that said, she does not share a lot of my experiences. She shares things about my personality, and sometimes, like if you're looking at like a highly sensitive experience, that is kind of what I'm writing. But the things that happened to her did not happen to me. That's one thing I've learned in writing, is that I can't write about a situation that really happened because it's too hard for me to honor reality and honor the story. Like to me, there's an inherent clash there, and I tend to have a really hard time bridging that gap. It gets to be really sticky and not fun for me. So often what I'll do is I might take the emotion from a real experience I have and put it in a different situation. Or like even from there too, like if I'm going to give this character a lot of my own experiences, she's going to also have things that are drastically different. Like one example I will give you from this book is like, I have a great family. She does not. Ava does not. So that was one way for me to really differentiate who she is from who I am and what her experience is from my experience, while still being able to give her a lot of my characteristics and explore that in a really fun and interesting and honestly kind of vulnerable way. But to jump back to the writing itself. So yeah, at this point, the first draft is done, but like I said, I kind of went through it without a plot. And the beginning has more plot, because I had a stronger sense of it, but we definitely lose the threads as we get deeper into the draft. So I'm going back in. I am realizing, I'm noticing that the beginning is actually stronger than I thought it was, which is always a really exciting discovery. But I do know the plot really unravels like at around the halfway point. So at this point, I am kind of going through and really trying to shore up the plot, get more details in. There's other changes I want to make. Like this, it's going to be a few rounds of revision before I get it to where I want it to be. But for right now, I'm focusing on one particular character's development and just adding plot because it needs it. I really am hoping that by the end of this draft, the plot is for the most part pretty solid. So I hope you enjoyed this behind the scenes video of what I'm working on. I will surely share more about this in the future, and I will get into more details about some of the themes that I'm exploring, how they're manifesting, and all of that good stuff. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.